Hi, Social Studies for the Child class. This is your lecture over what is geography. Go ahead and pull out your interactive notebooks. You will also need some colored pencils or crayons, a pencil to take notes in. You're going to turn your notebook to page 65, and you are going to essentially make 6 boxes for you to take notes in. The top left is big ideas, and then you are going to list location, place, human environmental, regions, and movement. And these are going to be your first one is your big ideas, and then the other 5 are going to be your 5 themes of geography. So pause this, get your notebook set up, and then we can continue on. So we know that geography is the study of people, places, and environments from the spatial and ecological perspective. If you're looking at spatial and ecological aspects, spatial is where is different places in the world are located. So where is Cincinnati? Where is Cleveland? Where is Columbus? Ecological aspects looks at characteristics of the physical environment, such as climate, landform, vegetation, which provides affordances and constraints on humans. And so out of Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland, I think those are the ones I used, which ones have rivers? Which ones have hills and mountains? Which ones are cooler or warmer? Which ones of those places allow us to farm or be successful pig farmers, if you will. And so those are the difference between spatial and ecological. Something that we need to be reminded of is that geography was strongly represented as a discipline taught on its own in the late 19th and 20th century, but eventually it just kind of became absorbed into the larger field of social studies. And that was fine, but us as Americans were quickly judging our students and saying that they were having poor performance on national assessments, and so it's making a comeback and getting more attention. If you look at other studies, though, our skills of our high school students and middle school and elementary school students, their scores in geography has really remained the same, but now we are deciding that they need to improve. And so, again, because of the outcry of the public, it is now getting more attention. Geography is typically placed in the beginning and the end of textbooks, which is funny if we want to give it attention, but we just throw it in at the beginning and throw it in at the end. Units focus on basic knowledge and skills and are not integrated with the content of other chapters. And so we'll teach geography a little bit in the beginning and we'll teach geography a little bit at the end, but really it's not integrated into all the things that we're teaching them. Textbooks are often filled with trivial facts rather than powerful geographical knowledge, and I think that a lot of us can attest to that. These textbooks often stress the physical aspects of geography over its human aspects, and research shows that geographical knowledge accumulates gradually across elementary years, and so it doesn't make any sense that in 5th grade we're going to shove all of our geographical units into that year, or in middle school. Students' belief combine accurate information with stereotypes and misconceptions, and I think this can be said with the majority of social studies, and so sometimes we're actually doing more harm to the geography knowledge than we think. And it says there on the slide, although students have difficulty understanding geographical relationships, they can learn these relationships through exposure to map-based instruction. Throughout every part of instruction you do, make sure it's map-based. We've talked about in class before that they're quickly pulling the traditional pull-down maps out of classrooms, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a map. It just means that that map was most likely inaccurate. And so you can get on Google Maps and find a very accurate map to base your instruction on. There is some evidence that students' understandings have actually improved in recent decades, and we know that that technology is things that we can find on the internet and make it interactive for them. Google Maps is free, and it is an amazing amazing technology that we can use with our kiddos. Okay, so geography in the classroom. And these are going to be some of our big ideas that we are talking about just in geography. We've talked about big ideas in social studies and in history, and this is the big ideas of geography, things that teachers should present students with while instructing throughout all the years. And I want you to illustrate these in your first box on your notebook. So the idea that humans and environments interact. Right now, I am wearing a good amount of clothes and a sweater because currently it is 38 degrees. I am interacting with my environment, but come July, I probably will not be wearing the same outfit because it'll be a good deal hotter. Physical environment influences human activity and vice versa. Right now it's raining and I do not want to walk across campus and go to the coffee shop because it's raining. It's influencing how I am interacting with the environment. I'm not going to be outside today because it's raining. Successive or continuing occupancy by groups of people and natural processes go together to make distinctive areas. And so when we are looking just at Price Hill, we have a lot of continuing occupancy, a lot of people that's been living there. And so it has slowly changed the area and made it a distinct place. The last one, more changes occur at the boundaries of regions than in interior regions. And so a lot of times that is based off of trade, or a lot of times there are natural features like waterways that will encourage changes to happen there. But if you think about it, it is, especially in countries, it is two regions of people coming together. So what I want you to do is take a moment, pause this, and illustrate those four things. Even though they're very big ideas, illustrate them in that small little space, and then come back to me. Okay, as we're working through here, we have the 5 themes of geography. The first one is location. Location is the position on Earth's surface, and we can break location down into 2 ways. We have absolute location and relative location. Our absolute location is a grid system, latitude and longitude. They'll often have alphanumeric grids. This can be found by using a map that has those grids that lay over. You can tell me exactly what number I am sitting at. This reminds me of like the military, or if someone is trying to, like a sniper is trying to pinpoint me from all over Cincinnati, they can use latitude and longitude to tell me exactly the point I am on the earth. Now, relative location is expressing location in relation to something else, right? I am in Price Hill, on Cincinnati Christian University's campus, in whatever building I am in. What building am I in here? I am in the Crouch building, the 2nd floor, the 3rd office down the half stairs, right? And so I can say exactly where I am. Now, certain aspects of relative location may change even though absolute location does not. What happens if something happens and Price Hill no longer exists, or Cincinnati Christian no longer exists? I am still standing exactly where I am. I'm still in my absolute location, even though the relative location may change. So what I would like for you to do in this little box where it says location, I want you, using Google Earth, to tell me the absolute and relative location of Cincinnati Christian University, okay? And that's what you are going to base your illustration off of for the term location. Pause this and then come back to me. The second theme of geography is place, and that describes the physical and human characteristics. Physical includes landforms, climate, vegetation, and animal life. An emphasis is on how they affect one another and support or challenge human occupations of the place. The human characteristic of it is the racial and ethnic characteristics, settlement patterns, population factors, languages, and economic activities. So again, I want us to just continue to describe CCU in our little box, but let's go back through this again. let's describe our physical place. So what landform does CCU sit upon, right? We sit on a hill. What's the climate like? What type of vegetation do we have? What type of animal life we have? We have little lizards that run around our hill that are not found if you go down the hill. And how does all that affect CCU students? And then the human characteristics, racially and ethnic characteristics. What type of characteristics do we have on campus? What settlement patterns? Where do people usually settle on campus? There should be no one sleeping in the Crouch building. We should be settling and sleeping in other areas of campus. The population factors. Typically, CCU is populated by a certain age and demographic of humans, what language is mostly spoken, and the economic activities. Where is their money spent? Where is there not money spent? Think about those things and then illustrate them in the place bubble on your notes. Pause this and come back to me. Okay. Our next one, our third one, is human environmental relations. So the relationships within places. Geography focuses on understanding how such human environment relationships developed and what their consequences are for the people in the environment. So I want you to think again about CCU. The geography of CCU, how did that have an impact on the human environment? And what relationships have developed because of this environment? Human environmental. How did the humans and the environment work together? What relationship has been formed? And how does that change how we live and exist on Cincinnati Christian University? Illustrate that in the human environmental relations. Pause it and then come back. Our fourth one is movements. Humans interacting on Earth. So the relationships between places. Places and regions are connected by movement, people going from one place to another. Over time, humans have increased their levels of interaction through communication, and then travel and foreign exchange. Technology has shrunk space and distance for us. I have friends that work and live across the country or across the world, and I can very easily talk to them at the drop of a pen. I can do it immediately because of technology. But that did not used to be the reason why. What I want you to do in your box is draw a picture. Why do people travel off of CCU's campus, right? Because this is talking about places and regions are connected by movement, but why would we move off of campus? What can campus not provide us all the time? So what would be the reason for that movement? Go ahead and pause, illustrate, and then come back to me. And our last one here is regions, how they form and how they change. The basic unit of geographic study is the region and the areas that display unity in terms of selected criteria. And so a lot of times when you get into upper elementary, we study different regions, right? We have the Northeast and the Southeast. We have the Midwest, the Northwest, the West, the Southwest. And so we kind of group these regions by traits that they might have. If it's weather or cities, they're typically located next to each other. What I want you to do is I want you to draw a highway on this last movement box. I want you to draw a highway linking two towns. And then what I would like for you to do is figure out if someone wanted to drive between those two towns, what things would they need? And so let's say between your first dot and your second dot is a 32-hour drive. What things will the people need? I want you to kind of think back to a long time ago. If I was going from Cincinnati to St. Louis, that is not a 32-hour drive, but if I was going between those two things, what little things would pop up between those towns? Would I get hungry? Would I need to go to sleep? Would I need a place to lay my head? Would I get bored? Would I need a place to stop and ask questions, to refill my gas tank? So think about all the things that you need need between those two places. And then I also want you to think how different regions are formed through the connection of these larger cities. Overall, that is a good start about our study of geography. You have our big ideas, and then you have our 5 themes of geography to get us started. Make sure that you have finished your notebook. It's colored nicely. You've read your chapter. You have filled out your SQ3R and submitted that. And I will see you all on Monday.